Hey everyone, and welcome. Think about this for a second. Have you ever imagined a race where your speed is totally 100% irrelevant? Well, today we're going to dive into a sport that does just that. It completely flips the script on what it means to compete. This is our explainer on Trail Orienteering.
So let's just start with that big central question. We're all pretty much wired to believe that racing is about who's fastest, who gets to the finish line first. But what if that wasn't the point at all? What if the winner was decided by how sharp their eyes are, not how fast their legs are?
So here's our game plan. First, we'll really dig into this idea of a race without running. Then, we'll get into what trail orienteering actually is and how you play it. After that, we'll look at the different competition formats, before we get to what is, for my money, the most incredible part of this sport, how it creates a totally equal playing field.
All right, part one, a race without running. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about a sport where being the fastest athlete just doesn't matter. It doesn't even factor in. The real champion is the person with the keenest mind and an almost superhuman ability to read a map.
So, what is this thing called? It's trail orienteering. And at its heart, it is the sport of pure precision map reading.
So, the official definition for trail orienteering, or TrailO as folks call it, is all about that meticulous, careful reading of a map and comparing it piece by piece to the actual terrain right in front of you. See, it's not about finding the best route through the forest. It's about perfectly understanding the landscape from one single spot.
And if you want to understand the sport's philosophy, just look at its logo. It says it all. See how the wheelchair user is just part of the icon? Not an add-on, not a special category, but right there in the middle. It beautifully sums up the core idea. Accuracy, not speed. That's the game.
So let's break that down. What are the core concepts here? Well, first, it is a pure test of your map skills. There's no running, no choosing a better route. The only goal is to be 100% accurate. And crucially, the entire thing is done on trails that are accessible to literally everyone.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. But what does it actually look like to compete? Let's get into how this ultimate map challenge is played.
Picture this. You are a competitor. You arrive at a specific spot on the trail called a decision point. From there, you look out and you can see a handful of orange and white flags scattered in the distance. Now you look down at your map and you see a circle around just one of those locations. Your entire job is to figure out which of the real-life flags, if any, is sitting in that exact spot shown on the map.
Honestly, the absolute best way to think about it is like a multiple-choice test, but your classroom is the great outdoors. The flags out there are your options, A, B, C, D, and E. The map is your question. All you have to do is pick the single right answer. And the gear is super simple. You've got your detailed orienteering map, that's your question sheet, and then you have your control card, that's your answer sheet. Once you've made your choice, you just punch the hole that matches the flag you picked. Simple as that.
Ah, but wait, here is where it gets really interesting. What do you do if you're studying your map, you're scanning all the flags out in the woods, and you realize, wait a minute, none of these are in the right spot? Is it a mistake? A trick question?
Nope, not a trick at all. It's a key part of the challenge. If not a single flag matches the map location perfectly, then the correct answer is Z for 0. And what that does is test your absolute confidence. It's not about picking the closest flag. It's about having the conviction to say that there is no perfect match.
So that's the basic mechanic, right? This brilliant little multiple-choice puzzle. But this core idea gets adapted into a few different ways to compete.
There are three main official formats. You've got PRIO, which stands for Precision Orienteering. That's the classic version we've been talking about, all about accuracy. Then you have Tempo, and this one kind of flips the whole thing on its head. It's all about speed, how fast you can make the right decision at timed stations. And finally, there's the Relay, which is a team event with a mass start, which brings in a whole other level of strategy and excitement. And don't go thinking this is some brand new thing either. This sport has some serious history. The first European Championships were way back in 1994. The first World Cup happened in '99, and by 2004 it had its very own official World Championships, which really cemented it as a serious global competition. And all of this, the rules, the formats, the history, it all leads us to this final and, I think, most powerful section, an equal playing field. This is where you see the real genius behind the entire sport.
This really gets to the heart of it all.
The whole sport is built from the ground up so that, and I'm quoting here, participants with and without physical disabilities compete on equal terms. This isn't a separate para-competition. It's the main event. Everyone, on the same course, competing as equals.
So how do they actually pull this off? Well, it's through a few simple but absolutely brilliant rules. Rule 1, everybody stays on the trail, period. You identify the flags from a distance so there's no need to go scrambling through the woods. And since nobody is allowed to leave the path, any kind of mobility aid is totally fine. Physical ability is just taken right out of the equation. And that's really what trail orienteering is all about. It strips competition down to its most fundamental mental elements. It's a genuine test of your brain, your observation, your logic, your precision, and it is built from the very beginning to be open to every single person.
So there you have it, trail orienteering. It's a sport that really makes you step back and ask a pretty big question. In a world that is so often obsessed with who's bigger, stronger, or faster, what does it really mean to be competitive? TrailO suggests the ultimate competition might just be a battle of the mind. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.